Hey guys, welcome back. It's the guy in the hat coming at you with my very first Dungeon Crawler Carl prediction video. Now, I've been wanting to do stuff like this for the longest time. I was thinking of doing it with Game of Thrones when Winds of Winter finally comes out, but there's so many people doing Game of Thrones stuff, and honestly, I just cannot get caught up on all that stuff. But I'm way ahead on the Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff. I have read all the books at least 5 times a piece, and I like to think that I may have picked up on something that the casual reader or casual listener, depending on if you listen to all the books on audiobook, might have missed. I don't know, I like to think that I know a little bit more about the series than the average reader, but I'll let you guys decide for yourselves if what you think I'm saying actually makes sense, or if I'm way off basis here, guys. But today I'm going to be doing a video on the top 10 people who I think are either going to live or die in this next book coming out in a couple of weeks, guys. Depending on when you watch this video, the book might have already been released. So this is my personal opinion on who lives, who dies in book 7. Now, this video, I'm going to be doing 5 people who are going to live and 5 people who are going to die. These 5 people are going to live no matter what happens in this next book series because their storylines haven't played out yet, and I doubt they're going to play out yet in this next book that's coming out, or at the very least they're so popular a character that I don't see Matt Damon just killing them off anytime soon, at least until the final 2 books. The other 5 people who I will be talking about have either had their entire storylines flushed out, or I think just don't have enough plot armor to get themselves into book 8, guys. These are just my own personal opinions. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with me, guys. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Please like, comment, subscribe for more Dungeon Crawler Carl content just like this, guys. Without further ado, let's hop straight into it, guys. Alright guys, let's kick things off with who's definitely going to live on into book 8. We'll start things off with number 5, Louis. Now, he pretty much has indestructible plot armor until Samantha's story gets played out. They're probably going to definitely reunite with Juicebox in this next book, and Samantha is probably going to get her body back, but that's 2 powerhouse people working actively to keep Louis in the game, keep Louis alive, happy, and safe, so I don't think Louis is going anywhere anytime soon. Not to mention, he's definitely building up to something crazy happening with him, guys. I don't know what he's gonna do, but when he finally does, become this, powerhouse of a player that no one can mess with anymore, I'm sure it's gonna be something epic, guys. Number 4, Florin. Now, like Louis, Florin has pretty much indestructible plot armor too until Lucia Marr's story gets flushed out. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely gonna die tragically to save Lucia Marr at some point in the book series. I don't think it's going to be in this next book. I think it's going to be something he definitely saves for book 8, maybe even book 9. I'm not entirely sure, guys, but Florin I feel like is definitely safe as long as we don't know everything about Lucia Marr. But the second we learn everything and the truth about everything that's been going on with her behind the scenes, Florin is basically a dead man walking, guys. But he's basically safe for now as long as Lucia Marr is still around. And on that note, number 3, Lucia Marr. Now, I don't think Lucia Marr's story is going to be completely wrapped up by the end of this next book, guys. I could be completely off basis here. Please let me know down in the comments below if you think Matt Dinniman's going to wrap up her entire arc in it. I don't think it is. Maybe Florin will tragically, sacrifice himself to save Lucia Marr and break her free from the spell, but I don't think that's going to happen in this book series. I think her and Lucia Marr are going to end up forming a 2-person party together and end up joining maybe Katya's team at some point. I'm not sure, but let me know down in the comments, guys, if you think Lucia Marr is going to definitely have her whole arc just be wrapped up in this book, or if you think she's going to live on into the next book too. Number 2, Ferdinand the Cat. Now, this one, guys, is kind of a throwaway, kind of an obvious one, because honestly, they've been building Ferdinand and Donut's relationship ever since book 1, and they've been finding ways to keep having him be relevant to the plot, and now he's finally in the dungeon as one of Donut's minions, and he's definitely not going away anytime soon. Carl's gonna now have 2 cats to deal with all the time. I don't know if Ferdinand's gonna end up sacrificing himself to save Donut in another book, but I'm sure he's gonna make it all the way throughout this book because he's just been built up for such a long time that it'd be kind of not a waste, but kind of a disappointment to just throw him away at the end of this book. That's just my opinion, guys. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Number 1, Ellie. specifically for two reasons. One, her 4 seasons build still isn't complete, and you know for sure Ellie's going to complete that before she dies. And the other reason has to do with who I'm sure is going to die in this next book. But I'll save that for later on in the video, guys, so stay tuned if you want to hear more about that. Alright guys, halfway done. Now we're moving on to who is guaranteed gonna die in this book, no matter what. We'll kick things off with a bang with Empress Donatia. Seriously, this girl has had it coming for a long time, ever since book 4. Now, I personally never fully trusted Princess Donatia. Don't get me wrong, I was kind of hoping she wouldn't screw over Donut because, you know, Donut liked her so much. But that being said, I know how the world works. I know all royalty and politics and how all that stuff gets played out. And I knew Empress Donatia was working some kind of scheme behind the scenes. And it just, annoys me that she actually had the audacity to try to get Carl and Donut deleted in the last book, guys. For that reason alone, she's literally a dead girl walking. Like, she's got maybe one more book after this, but I think literally the second she tries to attack Carl and Donut in this book, Donut's gonna have a one-on-one fight with her, and that is gonna be an epic battle that I cannot wait to see play out, but one that I know for sure Princess Donatia will not be walking away from. Number 4, Brittany. Now this one kind of hurts because I actually really like Brittany as a character. I like how she kind of went from being this kind of tag-along character, getting like, you know, kind of pushed into doing everything and just kind of being along for the ride. Now she's actually being active, helping people out, and actually like wiping out an entire like floor of an entire mob on one floor. Like, seriously, kind of became the new Gwendolyn Duet, and I personally broke my heart in the 5th book when Gwendolyn Duet died. And honestly, I feel like it was just so sudden and abrupt, and that's kind of the main reason why I feel like Brittany's next on the chopping block, because let's be honest, she like just kind of has that sacrificial lamb energy where like she's like likable, like kind of like badass enough where she could like go out and do something like very helpful to the rest of the group, but at the same time isn't so integral to the plot where if she were to die that it would affect too much of the story. And there's definitely going to be a lot of people dying in this next book series, guys, so I feel like if anyone for sure is definitely out the door in this next book, it's going to be Brittany. Not to mention they set up a bunch of new characters in the last book, and they're probably going to need a lot more time to develop those characters, and in order to develop those characters they're going to have to put a bunch of other side characters on the chopping block in this book, and I feel like Brittany's one of them, guys. Number 3, Osvaldo. Now, this guy has been a dead man walking ever since he stole that memory crystal from Prepotente. Honestly, I don't know why he was so eager to... I get that your bird died, dude, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sure you were very attached to him. It can't be too much of a dig. It's basically like, how pissed would I be if something happened to Donut? Obviously, I would go ballistic. But that being said, I don't know. I feel like basically, like, taking that memory crystal was more trouble than it was worth, and if Prepotente or Carl wanted something in this game, I would be smart enough to just let them have it and just try to find something else, because obviously that's more trouble than I would want to deal with. But because he was stupid enough to take it, that basically sealed his fate. He's either going to get tied into one of Carl's Emrys quest lines, or Prepotente is going to end up having to like off him in order to get the memory crystal. Either way, Osvaldo, this is your last entry in this book series, and I honestly am eager to see how Carl or Prepotente is going to end up taking that memory crystal from you. Number 2, Rosetta. Now this one is basically just like a freebie for Matt Denneman. Now there's really no reason really to keep her around after this book. Maybe he will. I'm not 150% sold on this, guys, but I'm like reasonably certain, especially since this is going to be an all-out war between the crawlers, the bounty hunters, and all the rich elite people who run the galaxy, and there's going to have to be a ton of sacrificial lambs, especially since we have to be wrapping up the series, guys. I think Matt Denneman's got like maybe 3 more books in this series before Dungeon Crawler Carl concludes. There's only so many ways you could flesh out a book series, guys, before it just gets too redundant. Either way, guys, I think there's maybe 3, maybe 4 books left in the series, and then Matt Denneman's gonna have to wrap up the series somehow, so Rosetta doesn't really play any important part in the series other than just like informing Carl about the apothecary, Dr. Hugh, and all the other crawlers who have written the cookbook before. But once she's done that, there's basically no other reason to keep her around in the series, guys. Let me know if you disagree down in the comments below. Alright, guys, number 1. Now this one is probably going to be my most controversial opinion, I honestly think that this one has been building up for a long time coming, guys. I honestly am surprised they've lived this long in the series so far, but honestly, they're so likable that I'm not surprised. Personally, I just think that Matt Dinniman loves doing this. Like, this is going to be Matt Dinniman's kind of red wedding book, guys. I feel like we're going to lose a lot of the main cast that we've grown fond of this series. I think this is going to break a lot of people's hearts, and it's going to be like a huge tearjerker when it finally does happen. I feel like Matt Dinniman loves hitting us with these massive gut punches that really remind us that, you know, victory comes at a price. And I feel like the best way to get that point across is to have Amani die in this book, guys. I'm sorry, but I think Amani is basically a dead woman walking. I think she basically was supposed to die in the last book, but I think basically they just didn't want to like kill her off until like the main battle of the series, where they like fight against all the bounty hunters and all the other like main people running the show, give her a chance to actually fight back at the people who did this to her, who like put the people who she cared about the most in danger. The way it's going to be something gut punching that ends with Amani dead, Team Meadowlark disbanding, and Ellie living on to fight another day. I personally think Ellie's not going anywhere until possibly the last book in the series. I actually think outliving everyone is Ellie's storyline. I think this is his way of basically saying that all victories come at a price, and sometimes that cost is outliving all the people you wanted to protect. But that's just me personally, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Is Amani gonna die for sure? Is Ellie gonna die first? Is Team Meadowlark on its last legs? I think we're basically building up to the Red Wedding here, guys, and that we're basically gonna end up killing off half the cast in this next book coming out, guys. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know if you agree that Amani's gonna die for sure, if you think she's gonna survive, if you think Louis's gonna live, if you think Florin's gonna die. I'm very interested in having a back and forth with you guys. Please let me know, guys. I'd love to make a video on your guys' opinions. I'm definitely gonna come out with a top 10 most popular Dungeon Crawler Carl characters in a couple of weeks, so keep your eyes open for that. Like, comment, subscribe for more Dungeon Crawler Carl prediction videos just like this one. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Have an awesome day. Take it easy.